Hello, and welcome to episode 11.5 Beldania. Last week, I wasn't very well, so we stopped early. This week, I'm not very well, so we're going to have a session. Apparently that doesn't change, but nevertheless, we are continuing from where we left off last week. Last week, this music is very angry. Last week, we went exploring. No, we didn't. Rubbish. Totally wrong session. Last week, we returned home to Harbonden, and we took shelter for the night in Furlock's shack. And we resume at the following morning. Today, I have playing with me Jamal.
Hey guys, Jamal here playing Kiavo of the Duskmane Pride, Leonin Wizard, Order of the Scribes.
I have Jodai.
That would be me. I play Hennick Littlefield, Halfling Farmer and Bard.
I have Josh.
I'm Josh. I will be playing Sebastian Belmont, who is a abjuration wizard, once human, turned team mascot.
I have Bruno, whose face I've just restored to the screen.
Thank you. I'm resurrected just like Jesus in time for Easter. Today I'm playing Natasha Ayolet, a life cleric who is a natural blonde.
I have Rico.
I'm Rico and I'm playing Torin, the Dragonborn Paladin, who's also kind of golden blonde colored.
No, that is everyone, isn't it? I'm trying to introduce a sixth person. I have some other dude, I don't know who they are or where they're from. Regardless, so we pick up in the morning in Harbonden. Good morning, guys. What's the plan?
We need to meet up with someone to report in and let them know what we saw.
Well, Cavo, I would say that the first thing that we need is breakfast.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Is the monkey butler around?
Of course. Just call out for him. He does have a name, but I don't know what it is.
You gave us a name before, didn't you?
Either.
Yeah, I know. I've given the name before. That's the problem.
Yeah, it was last session, wasn't it? And now I've already forgotten it.
No, I
Oh fuck! I completely forgot. No, it wasn't last session. Couldn't have been.
It was like old episode.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking a name like Archibald or something?
Oh, I'll look that up. What would you like to say to said orangutan?
Well, I don't, but I thought Torin would want to ask for breakfast.
Yeah. Good morning, whatever your name is, or my orangutan friend.
Good morning. What can I do for you, sir?
Oh, well, perhaps some breakfast would be nice, if you don't mind.
Oh, some breakfast? Yes, I'll get right on that.
Lovely.
I'm gonna walk up to Torin, and look up at him. He needs to make a wisdom save.
Oh. We're gonna find out, I think. Give me a second here. Alrighty.
I don't think I did give his name out loud, but it is Charles.
Sorry, Joshy, 19.
Okay, so this won't work, and you know that I feel like I needed to do this, but still, Sebastian's big beady eyes are gonna look up at you. Can I look at your sword, please? And he's his tail behind him is slowly swaying backwards and forwards.
Yeah, Torin is super hyped up that someone's asking about a sword. Well, this is my grandfather's sword. And pulls it out, and it's an interesting looking sword actually. It's it looks like a rapier, but the blade is slightly curved, sort of single edged, and the hilt looks like a rapier's hilt, like a basket hilt, but it appears to be kind of like a furled dragon wing. And he said, my grandfather bested many a foe with this fine blade. Would you like to hold it, Sebastian?
Yeah, can I take a look?
And he'll just drop this enormous sword
Yeah, I'll like
Sebastian's
Sebastian
hands.
will like go to grab the handle, like slightly like push down from it, and then he's gonna like flash you a really like I want to say toothy, but he has fangs, so a really fangy grin and like a slight glint in his eye. He's gonna like drag the sword away.
Okay. Sebastian, where are you going with that?
I'll be back. He's gonna like go off into the bedrooms with it.
And as he's like leaving, I'll be like, please be careful. It's a family heirloom, priceless to the Golden Browns.
Soren, should I keep an eye on him for you?
Careful if you can, please.
Okay. I'll try. I would at least make an attempt to follow Sebastian, just out of curiosity's sake, more than anything. But
Okay, so I'm gonna like just like leave the sword like on the ground. I'm gonna sit in front of it. I'm gonna like run my hand over the blade and just like I guess continuously be casting spark to see if I can get the magic to stay on the blade. I'm just gonna like run my hand up and down it, like trying to see if I'm capable of doing that.
You may make a Constitution saving throw.
$19.
Yeah, you can take half of 7 damage. You take 3 electric lightning damage as you manage to shock yourself repetitively. Other than that, you're not really achieving much right now. You perhaps could head to the library and ask for a book on enchanting weapons to perhaps understand the correct way of doing whatever it is you're trying to do.
I could, but where would be the fun in that?
Fair enough. And also, just as a side effect, all your hair is standing on end. And you look like a cat that's just being blow dried. But apart from that, I got nothing for you, I'm afraid. Nothing at all. I don't really know what you expected by casting a lightning cantrip on a piece of metal.
I didn't
good.
expect nothing. I'm just saying that's what he's doing.
Okay, very good.
just shaking my head and chuckling, looking at this.
Actually, yeah, Kiavo, if you can see this, make a Arcana check, please. Or a history check, actually. And then I think I'll take a history check.
Sure. That's a 24.
Yeah, as you look at this, you're just like, I'm sure there was some mysterious words and some runes or writing or perhaps calligraphy that go into enchanting a weapon. And usually there's an adding of components of some sort at least, or perhaps an engraving instead. That's what comes to mind while you're watching Sebastian's hair stand on end as he repetitively shocks himself with this weapon.
Well, keeping that in mind, for the time being I won't say anything. I'll just ponder what I just thought. But I think I'll be taking a trip to the library as well myself. Because I'm curious about this now as well. And if I find something out, it's quite likely I'll share it with Sebastian. But I'm going to do some learning, to say the least.
I can roll something if necessary to see if anybody noticed I was gone, but I think that I at this point would come back in the front door.
Yep, that's fine. Nobody would have noticed.
Hennick, unlike any of us, gets up very early, and had just gone across the way here to sort of do morning ritual of even though they're taking care of it, of grooming Black Radish and whatnot, just sort of to ease his own mind, and then is coming back now and comes in the door and just sort of checks in with everybody. I don't really know exactly what you all think we need to do today. Obviously, we need to go report these things to the Duke, but we have our questions about that and about the situation in general. I would very much like to stop by the Velvet Glove, the diplomat folk, on the way in. I have some information to deliver to them, but also we might learn something there before we head over to the Duke. I don't know what you're thinking is.
Well, again, I thought that we could visit old Yorkrath at the Silver Sword. perhaps glean some information about the mix-up with the Yonti. The old man.
Have you any idea what the storyline is?
I do. Coming.
Second, I think he's like it's coming back slowly. Give me a minute.
I was like, was it orcs, lizard folk? No, it was Yonti.
You're actually
yeah.
correct. It is Yuanti and lizard folk.
Yeah. But we only really sort of parlayed with the Yonti for the time being, right? Yeah. Yes, the old man seems to know more than he puts on. He's
I'm all for.
He's certainly smarter than he looks.
I'm all for getting as much information as possible before we go, although we don't want to delay it too long, of course. But that sounds fine to me.
I think that it's best that we gather as much information as possible before confronting Lord Horshaw.
Well, I do question whether confronting, although that's what I would like to do. I'm not sure it's necessarily the right way to be thinking about it, but I take your meaning.
Well, certainly something needs to be done, Henrik.
I agree, but we are but ordinary folk who have made one trip through the mountains. He's still the Duke of Harbonden, and a mite more powerful than us.
You know, Henrik, it's that little extra that makes one extraordinary.
I suppose, but it's that lot extra of guards who take orders from you and so on that makes someone able to do you in quite quickly if that comes to it. But I mean, I think you understand from what I had to say in my little bit of a verse last night that I'm with you on that in terms of ideas. Just think we need to be... Well, that's why I'm thinking Velvet Glove first. I think we need to learn a little bit about cautious approaches, diplomatic approaches to the situation.
Yes, this is excellent. Any other ideas? Natasha?
Hello, Torin. Good morning.
Good morning.
What do you need help with today?
Perhaps that we could speak to the church. I'm sure that they are sympathetic to the Yonti's plight. Certainly, they wouldn't turn away innocent folk who have been driven from their homeland.
The Church of Lathander won't turn away refugees, but bearing in mind the condition of the church, I doubt that they'll be able to house more than 20 or even hold any influence politically.
This is unfortunate.
Perhaps our best option would be to go to the Church of Soon. They're in slightly better shape. They might, be able to pull even the minor of strings. But that would be the best place to start.
I see. Do you have a Oh, you do have a contact, don't you? Okay.
I have 2.
Thorin nods in agreement.
Well, technically I have 3.
I don't think the third one's going to be of much use politically.
Yeah.
But, each to their own.
Who knows? He might come back a paladin.
I just joined this organization. I run this place.
Yeah, the bandit.
But yes, if we do need to reach out to anyone there, I can try. And I can always speak to Penelope of the Church of Lathander and see if she can point us in the right direction.
An excellent plan. Where are the cats? And where is my sword?
I'm still fucking around with it in the bedroom, so...
Still playing with that sword?
Are you saying that in character, Jamal?
Yeah, I'll just
Wow.
still playing with that sword.
I'll just slightly turn my head to you and then turn back. I wouldn't expect you to understand chaos, though.
Oh, I think I might understand. I think I might.
Alright, tell me, what am I doing?
By the looks of it,
Sorry, as I say that, I'll scooch round so that instead of sitting face toward the sword, I'm now looking up at you.
Looks like you're trying to interact some magic with that sword, and it's by the look of how puffy you are and fluffed up, it's not going too well.
Well, Beldania wasn't built in a day.
It's true, But usually when people start building, they at least know how to build.
And if you don't know how, then you'd have to start somewhere.
But you usually don't start building a town or a city by being a complete novice and not having any idea how to build whatsoever. You learn from having someone teach you or studying up a little bit. Might I recommend we consider that?
And what exactly should I be studying, Kiavo?
Well, to put it into more layperson's terms, how to put magic into sword.
But I don't want to put it into the sword.
You don't?
No.
What are you
I
trying
told you
to
you wouldn't
do
know
then?
what I'm trying to do.
What are you trying to do then?
I'm just trying to ignite an element around the sword. I don't want it to be permanent. What would be the use in putting fire permanently on a sword if you're then gonna fight a fire salamander? Or lightning on a sword permanently if you're then gonna fight a lightning salamander?
I think the answer to that is have two swords.
Or have the ability to choose what element can go on a sword for a specific amount of time. And then I'll scooch back around and just be like, go talk to your own book, cat.
Touche. Touche. Well, best of
Sebastian,
luck with your...
while you're doing this and having this discussion, go ahead and give me a Arcana check.
$17?
Okay, describe to me what it is you're trying to create.
Okay, so you know in Dragon Age Origins...
No, I don't.
You do, because you played the game, James.
Okay, but a long, long time ago, so please do...
Okay, so
point of
basically,
reference.
in Dragon Age Origins, there are 3 spells you can learn. So one's frost, one's fire, one's lightning. And you basically, whilst you sustain that spell, your party's weapons will have that elemental damage on there.
So you're looking to cast Holy Weapon, but creating it with fire or lightning or ice.
Or cold or acid or whatever, yeah. I'm not looking
Okay.
to enchant.
Whilst I think that that's very cool, I also think it is probably a little beyond Sebastian's scope right now. As
I'm not saying...
even if it was a 1d8, I think I'd need to make it a third level spell. However,
I'm not doing it to make the spell now.
However, in your learning, you do work out how to affect a weapon with magic. So the effects that you work out are a little different than what you're aiming for today. Perhaps there needs to be more research into the elemental side of things. But for now, you can go ahead and learn the spell Adamantine Weapon.
Wait, so can you say that again? Like what?
For now, you can go and learn the spell Adamantine Weapon. It is a level
Hey, that's pretty good.
1 spell.
Okay, good, because I was missing a spell anyways.
Is it level 1 spell? Yes, it is. Adamantine Weapon. You touch a non-magical weapon until the spell ends. That weapon becomes adamantine, and attacks with this weapon score a critical hit on 19 or 20.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, actually, Jamal, you might be right. It might be both.
Yeah, because wasn't your turtle?
My turtle is a Wednesday.
Oh, it is Wednesday. Oh, I thought it was Friday.
I'm your DM on a Friday, sir.
I'm an idiot. Sorry.
Yes, yes. Nevertheless, Sebastian, as you come to the end of your experimentation a little while later, and you rejoin the group, what's the plan? Are we going to the Velvet Glove? Anybody else like to discuss
no
that?
reporting.
I think that's agreed upon. Without the cats.
I'll drag the sword back into the room and just kind of like dump it in front of Torin and then walk back and walk away.
I'll pick it up gingerly.
As you sort of get yourselves together and you begin to exit Fairlock's shack, you're able to head over the bridge into Harbonden proper, as you might call it. And are we going straight to the Velvet Glove? Is there anywhere else we'd like to stop on the way? Should I pull up the map so we actually know what's in what order? So in we trotted. I'm probably the only person that can see this, however. Let me put this on a day.
I mean, I'm looking at it.
I can.
The
pull
only
up
labeled
thing of
things
the-
we pass would be Adventurers Guild, Drunken Dragon Inn, Blacksmith. I mean, we're going
Yeah.
past the Citadel, yeah, but we don't want to go there first.
And the Temple of Saloon.
Yeah, right. Temple of Sin is over there.
Yeah, have I really written Soon?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a typo. It should say Saloon. My apologies.
Right.
I corrected Bruno in chat, but I now realize the reason why is that I've mistyped it on the map. I think Soon is a goddess of beauty. Or something, but here they worship the moon goddess. Goddess of the moon.
Oh,
Which is Saloon. Yes. Yeah, very relevant. But never mind, that's my bad. You could potentially pop into the temple on the way, but I think, Headache, you're probably right in that if you're aiming to be diplomatic about this, you should probably start with the Velvet Glove and then work your way to other places.
That's my plan.
If we are going to head into the Velvet Glove, go there. I will return back. As you head in, you see a small halfling in a bright green beret. He's wearing quite a dark green doublet and very knee-high, sort of shiny brown boots. He looks a little like somebody you've met before, Henrik, although not the same man. He has a series of unusual earrings in his ear. He looks over at you and, well, might I help you at all?
Good morning, but then continuing in Halfling. Yes, I am going to, well, we have some different business around town. I'm interested in the guild in general, sort of the diplomacy side of things you have here, but in particular, I have a note from a Barris that I met in Lorvalen. Is there someone to receive that?
Yeah, my name's Merrick. I'm attached to no specific lord. Though all of them perhaps would be a better phrase than none. I work for the Urak State and for the Velvet Glove, but I have means. I'm really sorry, Henrik, but I've forgotten what this note, or who Barris is, for that matter.
Barris was the super spy
Yes,
in
yes,
Lorvalen.
okay,
He gave me a
got it,
note and
got
said,
it.
take this to the Velvet Glove in Harbonden. They will give you money.
Yeah,
Henrik
got
doesn't
it.
necessarily care about that. But we could use the money.
I remember now. So this is the note regarding Duke Lord Horshaw in Harbonden. And as Merrick looks over this, he's sort of... And he'll look around. Then he'll go ding ding on a little bell on the desk, and two men will come out. The first is another halfling. This halfling is fat. There's no other way to describe it. He's fat. Unhealthily so, to the point that he looks like he's just gorged himself constantly. He almost is struggling to walk. His legs are sort of round shapes. And you see marks of where he's very thin at the wrists and at the ankles. Looking closely, Henrik, be an insight check.
That's 13.
Yeah, these look like the marks of manacles. And standing next to him is a weathered, older gentleman. He appears to be in his late 60s. but he's very fit. He has a scar all the way down one side of his face, and his skin is cracked and weathered. Looks over at you. Good day. My name is Carrion. So they call me.
Good to meet you.
Might I help you? And Merrick turns to him, and you should see this note. Embarrass. Overton. Be that as it may.
Do you speak Halfling, sir?
He will reply to you in Halfling.
So, my name is Hennick Littlefield. I am from the town of Sandringham.
Do you have things you wish to keep from your companions?
No, just was advised to speak here in Halfling, and I wanted to make sure I was sticking to the sort of expected
Excellent.
routine, but...
And he, with that, he sort of makes a gesture at a servant over to the side. Please, follow me. And he'll lead you into a private room. But the reason he asks is he is going to lead all of you, not just Hennick.
Can I turn to the party and say, so just for context, he asked if Hennick wanted to keep anything from the party, and Hennick said no, he was just advised to speak in Halfling.
I see.
I
was
think
aware of
actually
that.
3 or 4 of you speak Halfling. I think Yabo speaks Halfling as well.
I do, yes.
I know, I know.
Sebastian doesn't, and I don't think Torin does either.
So I'll translate for Torin and Sebastian.
Regardless, he will lead you into a private chamber, and it's richly appointed, but Hennick would appreciate the utilitarianness of it. Whilst the table is of excellent quality and the wine is exquisite that is on the table, there is very little here that isn't necessary apart from the wine. And he sort of takes a seat. I'm sorry, my old bones. I've just returned from a long walk. Well, the news you bring of the corruption of Lord Horshaw is nothing new. The man has little money to spare for those that need it. Lots of money to spare for things that he needs. Or desires. Nevertheless, I don't think him an evil man. Or a nasty man. Just a self-indulgent one. But, please, I would like to rephrase my previous question. How came you by this note? Who do I have the pleasure of addressing?
Well, and I think most of my friends here do speak either way, but I'm actually, after all these years, a little more comfortable this way.
Yeah, for reference, he's spoken in, apart from the one time he responded in Halfling, he's spoken in common the whole time.
Sure, of course. Again, so I'm Hennick Littlefield. I'm from the town of Sandringham, as are all these folk here. You may know, just to the east of here, and somewhat recently, razed to the ground by a raiding party. But we went on to Lorvalan to sort of report on the situation and things. And while we were there, before being assigned to carry through the mountains, which we have now done on the orders of Lord Lagon to sort of get some scouting reports. While we were in Lorvalan, I was approached by a halfling man, apparently by the name of Barris, who asked me to pass this note along. I've also run into some other folk advising, suggesting that I come to the Velvet Glove, and in fact, some interaction we had with a group of Yuan-Ti up in the mountains suggests to me that perhaps diplomacy is something I ought to get involved in.
So, the town you mentioned would be Sandringham, and this would be Sebastian, Belmont, Chiavo, Natasha Eilert, and Thorin Goldenbrand, is that correct?
You got him.
One thing I'm not aware of is your interaction with anti-use. Most fascinating. Most people don't mention any interactions with you anti-read. Unless by interaction likely mean murder.
Not at all. Quite a comfortable talk, actually. Well, comfortable might be stretching it. It was tense at first, but we were up on a sort of overlook cliff area in the mountains and saw a group of them down below. And, well, quite frankly, it's my nature to approach and speak to people if I can, and did so. We had a ranger with us there who knew something of their ways and sort of gave us the hint of sort of gestures of submission and so on, and we were able to make contact.
Fendus?
I believe that is correct. I believe that's correct, yeah. out of character. I think that's the one. Which one it was?
It was
We keep
Hagren,
running
actually.
into different guides at different
It was
outposts.
Hagren, actually, but yeah. It's,
Oh, right. Right,
Um,
Fennis is the one that Bruno was
who,
controlling.
yeah. But he sort of looks at you and... do you know to which caste you spoke? Caste, C-A-S-T-E, for relevance.
I don't know if I would remember. Maybe I do know that.
He was...
I was actually gonna say I don't think we ever found out what case was his name Isra?
Yalasar,
Yalasar.
he was a speaker.
He was a speaker, but we never found out the clan.
No, caste is his caste is
see.
speaker.
Oh, I see. I see.
Yeah, as opposed to king or servant or worker class, etc. They have various different castes. Sorry, ask a question.
Yeah,
that
he was,
only I know the answer to.
He was a speaker. I take it to be a sort of valued position among them. His name was Yalasar.
He gave you his name. Trust must have been shared. Did he share a drink with you?
Yeah, it was a bit of an odd concoction, but I don't think it had too much effect on me.
Done extremely well for one untrained. I suppose some introductions are in order. I've told you my name, but not my role. I am Carrion, or so they call me. Master Cast Iron is the name I went by originally. I count the bodies. My job. My title. Accountant of corpses. Names. Some might see it as sad work, but saying goodbye to those loved and ensuring those loved are not lost needlessly. An important role, in my opinion. I have been to Sandringham. Count those lost. But I have also been to the borders. I have seen the likes of which I have never seen before. Yuan-Ti behave unlike any Yuan-Ti I've ever met before. Yuan-Ti are a fair folk. Dangerous, yes, but not without reason, not without logic. They're a calculated group. They speak before they stab, such. And yet, I witnessed atrocities caused by them on the border and by our own people. Like some kind of strange madness. As I walked the border, I felt the pressure of this, though affected me not. Perhaps my training in the ways of magic. Where did you speak to? Him and I have shared drink before.
Yeah, we were up in the mountains, and I'm looking for them. A big map here to show me the name of that dwarven place that they were heading.
Eladar.
No,
Elladar's the other end.
Or Numenez.
Yes, Barad. Yeah, so it wasn't too far from Barad Numenez. They were apparently waiting to see how many other folk could shelter in there with the dwarves.
Ah, so the dwarves have made contact us. Had trouble getting through, but...
Well, there's one thing I wanted to ask you all about our sort of position on the dwarves. I don't really... Well, it's been many years since I got out of Sandringham much, and I don't know what the relations are at this point.
The dwarves are, as always, loyal unto dwarves first and foremost, but are always willing to parley, assist, and they hold the borders fiercer than any man could. Well, thus, it would seem that you have done an excellent job. If it may, the Velvet Glove prefer to operate separately. Perhaps you might deliver your news to Lord Horshaw, and I'm supposing you have also been asked by Lord Lagon to report to his own man?
Indeed we have.
Severin's a good man. But please be aware that your word will reach the Urak state. Therefore, all the relevant leaders to our guild. And Master Littlefield, I get the impression that perhaps titles and deeds and riches are not your thing. Perhaps worthy work might be.
I think absolutely that's you've well, your ability to read the situation there is confirmed only that I am interested.
I may have a task for you, but perhaps you might enjoy. A long time ago, a group of halflings made an easy peace with some Yuan-Ti, lizard folk. learned a lot of their ways. In fact, some of that is the foundation for how the Velvet operates nowadays with Yuan-Ti. One particular gentleman, an older halfling. You may call him grandfather. Though Gandarms is his name. You have been told about Gandarus. He's the very, very old halfling, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
He is in Corman now, but he once travelled the length and breadth of Beldania and many other continents as well. I would like to hear his advice on these matters, but alas, I do not have the time to tarry to travel myself. It is a journey I think you might find of interest. I think perhaps he is a man you might find. If you would be willing to go and hear his words, speak your own.
I would be very happy to. I don't know if, I don't want to speak for my entire group, and we have been sticking together of late, but it's definitely something, well, twice now, Barris himself, in fact, mentioned Gandarus, and it's definitely of interest to me.
Well, the job is not something that needs to be rushed. Perhaps wish to return to see the rebuilding of Sandringham first. The Dwarven craftsman arrived but yesterday there. Just to reference, there is no way he would know that without magic.
Okay.
Harbonden is technically a 24-hour journey, but for him to know they arrived yesterday evening would be impossible at this time of day. So you can gather that he has some magical way of realizing this. The Dwarven craftsman arrived but yesterday, and in fact the first place rebuilt was the inn for the islets. As he sort of nods over to Nata. The work progresses well from what I know, but certainly some... And then he looks again at Natasha and sort of puts emphasis on some financial assistance would be of great aid to them.
You're right. I'm sure it would.
And of course, providing it to the right hands would be very important. I'm sure Lord Horshaw would be incredibly generous with assistance, but perhaps not as generous as one who cared deeply for the folk of Sandringham. And Mayor Garland, of course, would be the ideal candidate, though knowing how to spend it may be a little beyond him. Indeed, if I was to come into possession of great riches and wish to assist Sandringham in the best way possible, perhaps I would visit the Rangers Guild and make mention of it to Kelvin. He is wiser in the ways of the world than most. Certainly he seems to be staying in Harbonden recently for reasons unknown, but alas, I'm not one who has recently come into riches on behalf of Sandringham, so what would I know?
Indeed. She'll go back. Natasha, she's awkward.
Is there a reason why you're doing star jumps at me? Please, go ahead and press a mic. I don't know what that means, Josh. You've got your mic muted.
Yeah, it's so that in the cameras they can see something.
Sorry, I thought you were trying to get my attention. I'm just like, why is he doing starfish? Yeah, so he's sort of after this moment. Here, I'll do this, and then everybody much of an idiot thing. Good. And then he sort of nods, and well, with that said, I will be more than happy to provision you on your way to Gandarus when you are ready, Hennick. But please, no rush. I don't.
Yeah, well.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. It's definitely something I'd like to get to soon as reasonable.
Perhaps some time in Harbonden might be advisable first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are. At least, nobody special just yet. It's the things we need to know, and it seems like you're quite well informed. You've already given us some good sense about who to speak to in terms of the money for Sandringham and so on. We are, as you say, going to go report these things to the Duke. We're we're also expected to sort of find out a little bit about the Duke on behalf of him. Just wonder what you might advise, or perhaps just information you have.
The Lord Horseshaw recently took wife. The Lady Polydra is young. She is beautiful, but I'm afraid she is little else. Lord Horseshaw dotes on his new wife, and he does enjoy a lavish party, or 12. Riches, and a life of luxury. Whilst those in Sandringham may dine on that they have foraged the night before, they stand around the campfire waiting for their homes to be rebuilt. Lord Horseshaw throws parties in the names of charity and luxury. He disrespects those that do not have the money or wherewithal that others do. He speaks ill of the church, or at least of the churches that do not provide him money in his coffers. He looks at Lady Natasha, and indeed the Church of Lathander would be barely on his radar. He is a self-indulgent man who is going to bring this entire realm to ruin if he doesn't rein himself in shortly. But I would guess that the way through to him, through his wife. Alas, as a member of the Yurak state, it is of course my responsibility to be completely impartial on the matter.
Naturally. But that's much appreciated angle on the situation. Yeah, we thank you for that. I don't know if anyone has anything else we feel we need to ask these folks.
Perhaps there is something else I might provide. When you are finished with your duties in Harbonden, before you return to Sandringham, perhaps you might come by and collect a friend of mine. He's known as Watcher. She'd like to take a journey to Sandringham to see how best Sandringham might benefit its rebuilding, and to make sure that, well, it doesn't encounter such troubles again. Suffice to say, she has some contacts and some ability. Right.
Well, that sounds fine. We've brought back and forth, or along the road between here and Sandringham, much less capable parties in the past. I think.
Watcher will look after herself, but she's a strange one.
Well, I think we're all strange from a certain perspective.
Indeed, though perhaps she is strange from all. I hope that you will not find her presence unnerving. But nevertheless, she is a valuable
Maybe
companion.
just don't get her in the same tent with Yager on the way back through.
You know of Yagra.
A bit.
There's at least one dice that shoots straight. Nevertheless, I believe you have duties elsewhere. Just to double check, are you with us, Rico? I know you're off camera, but you're here, yeah?
Yes, I had to go off cam. I
No,
just didn't want to
yeah,
interrupt
that's fine.
the wonderful roleplay going on. Sorry.
So at this point, he will turn to you, and it might interest you to know that Yorkrath is down at the border. Nevertheless,
Is
he's left a valued member in the Silver Sword. It would still be worth your time tarrying there.
Absolutely. Who is this contact? Couldn't be Rogar.
No, definitely not. Nope. Episode 1. Went walking up into the mountains with him.
Oh, his name. No, it was Rogar.
Was that Rogar?
Yeah, his the
Yes. Rogar is the grandson of your grandfather's shield.
Field brother, exactly.
Yes, okay, cool. Not Narkul, who's the other name that you have, is who I was thinking of, and he would be at the border together. Rogar is perhaps who may best inform you, although of course he has not been left in charge. The man being left in charge is not somebody I would...
No. Would you care to explain your reasoning?
I try not to judge one by their class. Black Dragonborn have regularly unusual group.
I've heard the stories.
Kalik is... He's a powerful... But... I'd like not to speak of rumors. Nice to say it's not who I would have chosen.
Fair enough, if he's been tasked with charge of the Silver Sword for the time being, he must be somewhat capable.
Oh, he is definitely capable. And
well, thank you.
See, he's really struggling not to say more. Like, even this master diplomat is really struggling not to say more. He will gently steer the topics elsewhere in a far better diplomatic way than James can. Well,
fair enough, Garion.
I'm sure you have places to be.
It's not my usual way to ask, and it was only a small note.
You'll receive it at the counter on the way out.
Well, thank you. More of a way of confirming that we can trust the word. Thank you.
I do not carry any myself. And, yes, indeed, as you leave the office, Merrick is the one who would provide payment. He will give you... Alright, page. I was not expecting to have to do that today. He will give you 2 gold pieces. But he will also give you... Gold, please. Oh, we lost another one. You guys are dropping like flies.
Oh dear, this is not a good start.
I'm really sorry.
I'll be back very soon.
Do we need to take a break, maybe?
Fine, Joshua.
Oh, okay.
Which is good because my page has just completely disappeared. Give you.
In that case, I'll be back shortly as well, okay?
Plus 3 set of plate armor for Natasha.
No, it's an earring. I just can't find it. Yes, there you go. He will hand you a simple, it looks like a gold-studded earring. And he will place this in Hennick's hand. This is an earring of whispers. I couldn't spell earring, apparently. Which is why I couldn't find it. And he sort of nods at you, and perhaps this helpful. That travels.
Same to yourself. Thank you.
I don't think I mentioned a specific reward when he... No, okay.
No, just said you will be paid.
Yeah. I thought that was the case, but I just wanted to double check I hadn't said something different. Regardless, he will also remind you that should you wish to travel at some point to Cormin, they will provision you well for the journey as and when that is the case. Just from on a DM note, that's not something that's sort of go do it. It's just sort of, it's there.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm not trying to push you in that direction at all because, well, we've got stuff to do before we go there.
Yeah, of course.
So with that concluded, where are we headed, friends?
We still have more official business, right?
You have the official business that you are yet to do anything with.
And I'm back.
And I didn't quite catch all of what was going on with Torin there, Rico. I don't know. Do you still want to go? Was the wrong people there? Do you still want to stop by that place?
Perhaps we should speak to this this Kalik. It would be nice to see old Rogar before we continued our way.
Fine with me.
So you headed up to the Silver Sword.
Yes.
As you are approaching the Silver Sword, you walk. I'm going to use the party counter just to specifically show you which route was taken. As you head straight all the way down the road, then take a right. As you're walking up past a very tall, quite narrow building, sort of 5 or 6 stories high, tower, with darkened windows, you hear an argument taking place in the street. 2 men appear to be shouting at each other. One is just over 6 foot, and the other one is quite short, perhaps 5 foot, though even to the amateur's eye, as soon as you look at these two, you notice that the short one is the most dangerous. Just the way in which he holds his weapons, the way in which so the dangerous cant of his eyes and the confidence within him, it's fairly obvious fairly quickly that this is not somebody to be trifled with. As you all stand, sort of going to move through, the crowds block you from passing through to the Silver Sword quite yet. And you witness the younger man, the shorter man, call out to the larger man, "If you have issue, and you take issue, then do so publicly, draw your sword, and let your word be your honor. Show your honor with your blade. If not, be not one to challenge I." The larger man sort of looks at him, and you speak of honor, and he would stab people in the back and quiet alleys in the night, in the middle of the night.
Go on. I was just gonna say, Torin will sort of like find the closest onlooker to the group and be like, "What's going on here?"
The larger man. That is... Should have had this. That's Ivan. Ivan's he's a good man. He's a member of the city guard. And from what I understand, he is accusing the shorter man of murder.
Murder?
Publicly?
Publicly. The shorter man is known as Dusk. He said if he wishes to call him out for murder, then why not challenge him to a duel? Be the custom.
I fear this Dusk may have the upper hand if it came to blows.
I know of no man who would defeat him in a duel.
Who is he meant to have murdered?
A merchant, a fat merchant by the name of... Sorry, we're like 25 sessions ago. By the name of Porink.
Ponk?
Honk!
The man Ivan speaks on behalf of another. So, I'm not sure his actual name.
Oh, what was his name?
Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Lombard. Fucking right. It seems old Nathaniel has taken matters into his own hands.
At this moment, you hear the shorter man call out, "Well, no duel is coming by and you have no warrant to arrest me, then I believe I am to walk free. Is that not the case?" As he says this, he sort of struts arrogantly around the ring of people surrounding him. He has a hand crossbow in one hand, short dagger in the other.
Well, I think that depends on what the evidence is against you, man.
Evidence? I haven't seen any evidence. That's the problem. No evidence, no case, no arrest. No evidence was given but the word of one old man. And the word with no evidence. If I killed Porink. Indeed. perhaps not so difficult a task. Then perhaps I received payment for it. Perhaps I received an order, as is perhaps expected. Though no evidence of such order or such payment is found, is it, young Ivan? In fact, there is no evidence at all. One might say it was the perfect murder. No?
How convenient
See-
for you, Dusk.
So you'd be willing to sit under a zone of truth?
Oh, of course.
And you'd answer yes or no to whether you've committed a murder?
Oh, I've committed many, many murders. The question is not whether I've committed murder, but whether there is evidence for a case. But of course,
Unfortunately, the zone of
you don't
truth-
wish to ask me if I have committed murder. You wish to ask me if I have murdered dear Porink. Please, cast your spell, priestess.
Not a priestess.
I know of very few others who would appear so infuriatingly at the center of town and profess to have the magics to detect the truths of others and priestesses.
Well, today's a very odd day, isn't it?
Please, cast your spell.
I don't actually have Zone of Truth. That was a bluff. But this is going.
Okay, well, one of the, a gentleman steps out of the crowd, an older-looking gentleman, with a less blurry cam than I. What the fuck is going on there?
Good question.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
So, an older folk gentleman steps out, and she may not be a priestess, but I am a priest. Perhaps I might be of assistance.
Holy symbol drop.
And, he sort of gestures with a hand nonchalantly and casts on a tree.
I just wanted to know. Can we tell where he's from? Like what
yeah.
church he belongs to by his trappings, or no, nothing?
He
Just-
wears a simple black cloak, traveler's clothes, and he has a strange. He has 3 bottles at his side, his hip.
Kelimvor?
Iavo, give
Yes.
me a religion check.
Me.
You may have read about this. There's a very slim
Okay,
chance.
that's a 10.
Natasha crying in the church
Not a
right now.
clue. No,
Okay.
none of you know. None of you know who he worships. Actually, Hennick, give me an insight check,
Okay.
because there is
24.
something. Yeah, the bottle at his hip, one of the 3 bottles, resembles very closely the bottle that the speaker poured from Yalasar when he shared a drink with you. That doesn't tell you what religion he is, but it does tell you that perhaps there's a connection somewhere. And I'll leave it at that with that. Nevertheless, the Zone of Truth is cast. And arrogantly, Dusk sort of steps into it. And I, Dusk of the Night Blades, murderer for hire, did not murder Warwick.
But do you know who did?
Yes.
Is it one of your affiliates?
Please define affiliate, madam.
To be honest, I really don't need to, because, good sir, you've just admitted withholding information on a trial.
I am not on trial. Or I am not involved in the murder of Porrick. However,
But you know who did it.
I do know who did it. But I merely wish
You know
if
what,
you would like to describe what you mean by an affiliate. For example, does she work with me? No. Have I slept with her? Most definitely. Will I disclose her name? No.
Guard, this man just admitted to knowing who committed the murder, and he said that he's withholding that information and protecting
Ivan looks
her.
at you, and fortunately the law can do nothing about that. For his oath protects him.
He's an accomplice to murder, good sir.
He is a member of the Assassin's Guild. I'd be a bit worried if he wasn't an accomplice to murder. His oath protects
touche.
him from disclosing information unless the murder was committed illegally. As we are aware that there was no contract on Porenk, we knew that he was not killed by the Assassin's Guild by contract. However, Dusk was still named as the killer. If he killed outside of his oath, then he would indeed be guilty. Nevertheless, he did not, and therefore no further investigation can be made into this man, I'm afraid.
Hold on a clock tick, good sir. So, I could just purchase an assassination contract, and that would be perfectly legal.
Of course. As long as it was within writ.
What is going on in this age? I can't even.
The Nightblades are a most honourable organisation. They have operated for many, many centuries.
James, Natasha going straight into the guilds. I can't
Which
even
guild?
with this.
Into the Nightblades?
No, into
Anywhere but the Silver Sword.
Yeah, I cannot cope.
Okay.
I cannot cope. These people killing each other. These people being killed by the orcs. I'm sorry, guys. Today is just a very intense day for me. I just want to complete our little quests and go back to our inn and take a bath.
Natasha troubled by the ways of the world. Dusk, however, will look to the rest of you and... have a drink on me, folks! And he reaches to his hip where there are 3 flasks. Takes a sip of one of them. With the other 2, he first lays a small line of red upon the ground. Then dashes a small line of white upon the ground. Third one. Places all 3 bottles. Takes a nod. And pushes himself arrogantly straight between Torren and Hennick.
My friend, your oath protects you against revealing this information. Does it prohibit you from doing so if you were so inclined?
No, not at all.
What might incline you?
Riches beyond mentioning. Caress.
Somehow I think no rich should be beyond your mentioning.
Caress of a fine, beautiful woman. Or fight worth having. Other than that, I'm a pretty simple man. Pretty simple desires.
Guys, I'll fight him.
Ooh, bloody hell, you can hear her all the way from there? Good ears in the Silver Sword, Natasha. He sort of looks at you all and... Be that as it may, if you'd like to investigate the murder. Perhaps find out who he didn't sleep with.
Sorry,
Jealousy.
say
Again,
Perhaps find out
once.
who he didn't sleep with. The jealousy of a scorned lover, indeed. And at this moment, he sort of just leans over to Kiavo and whispers, "The gossip's juicy."
Gossip is not interesting, but it may be useful. So,
And with this, he will sort of wave his hand, and 3 daggers will begin to spin slowly around Kiavo's head and then disappear, and he leans into the other ear and... What magic is? And with that, as you all are looking straight at him, he just disappears.
he does present a good point. Magic sure is interesting.
I don't think it comes as any surprise to
How the
anyone that I
hell
don't care
did he
for
do
this
that?
gentleman, but
I'm really
I don't
sorry.
either,
I
but
missed
I'm just interested in how the hell he did that.
everything both of you said. Henrik, can you repeat what you said?
oh, mine was just flavor. I don't think it comes as a surprise to anyone. I don't enjoy this gentleman.
Ah, no.
Neither do I. Neither do I. But
The sentiment is
magic
shared,
he wields.
Henrik.
The magic he wields sure is interesting. How the hell did he do that?
Well, if it's a fight that he wants, perhaps on another occasion. And Torrent, whose hand has been resting on his sword sort of the entire time, sort of lets his grip go.
I feel like that may have to wait at least a few years, Torren.
Years?
He seems fairly powerful, and being able to disappear like that, that's concerning. Intriguing, but concerning.
Well, I'll take your word for it, Cavo, but perhaps years are too long for that man.
Quite frankly, I can't help but agree. But such is the way. Would I be able to tell what sort of magic he was using to turn invisible? Or is that beyond my
You would be
abilities
well
to
aware
intuit
that there was
sorts of
large
magic?
amounts of illusion going on throughout the entire display. Perhaps, was he ever where he said he was? Who knows? But yeah, there was
Illusory
definitely
magic,
some
okay.
illusion going on. As this conversation is going on between Torin and Kiava, Ivan, the man who challenged Dusk, followed Natasha into the Silver Sword. And he turns to her and... Excuse me, lass. You spoke fairly out in the square. Perhaps my master would... Well, my employer, sorry, is a better phrase. He didn't say master. Perhaps my employer could take a moment of your time at some point. My employer is a man named Nathaniel. You can find him at the Silver Knight Tavern outside of town. Should you be interested in, well, finally bringing somebody to task for the murder of a good man.
Very well then. Let's go. I just need to round up my comrades.
Well, in your own time. The Silver Knight Tavern is where you'll find Nathaniel. I must get back to the city guardhouse. Best of luck.
Okay.
He nods to you and... Yeah, he was just sort of appreciative of the way you spoke and has suggested that perhaps if you wish to get involved more, you may seek out Nathaniel. If anything, this is just a reminder that that quest still exists. Cool. However, I'm assuming at this point, Torin will wander into the Silver Sword with others behind him. And at this moment, a young man, a black dragonborn, but young, very young, sort of steps out and... might I go... Sorry. Holton B. He looks over to the desk where there is another black dragonborn, and I've forgotten the lines again. He looks at him and... Greetings, how might I help you? He sort of stumbles over it. Torin, he's got quite a thick dragonborn accent, a draconic accent. He's clearly struggling with the common tongue. For reference.
Might you be Kalek?
He points to the older gentleman. The young man is... it's my father.
I see.
At this point, the gentleman, the black dragonborn behind the desk, sort of looks over to you. And, well, who are you?
Well, my name is in Draconic, I guess. At this point, I'll present myself as Torin Goldenbrand. I'm good friends with old Yorkrath. I understand that he's taken up post at the border.
On a fool's mission to nowhere, to get involved in things that don't concern him.
Well,
my oath of a son has failed to stop your companions at the door. Names? Is in common as he looks over the rest of you.
Well, these are my companions. I believe they can introduce themselves.
I'm Henrik Littlefield.
Sebastian Belmont.
And what are you?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, what are you?
I am the wizard of the group. What are you?
Is some kind of illusion, and he gestures towards you. You.
This is all real, baby.
Look at you and
If you don't know, you better ask someone.
wizards. You? Java.
Yeah.
Who are you?
Sorry, who are you again?
Turned up at my office. Who are you?
Oh, no. Name's Kiavo.
Of no clan worth mentioning.
Duskmane.
Human? Name?
I'm Natasha Ayelet.
And to what do I owe the pleasure?
Perhaps some information is in order. We were tasked by Lord Lagon in Lorvalen of scouting the borders in the north, and well, I had some questions for Yorkrath. It's quite unfortunate that he's not here.
Quite.
Might
It was.
Rogar be here?
If it was, I wouldn't be dealing with you. Rogar's training out the back.
Hmm,
You remember the guild?
I do.
I do. That's a very strange answer to, are you a member of the guild?
Oh, I thought you said, do you remember the guild?
Yeah, I
Like,
thought you said that as well.
As in, like, where things are. I am not.
And then it seems he's in a place you can't reach. Perhaps my oath of a son might retrieve him.
That would be lovely.
He sort of looks up and... Yes, father? Turns to him in Draconic. Go and get the idiot, Silver. The son looks over at him and, which one, sir? Quite. The young one. Rogar. He's trying not to admit that he knows the name. As you're watching him, he then turns to a female who is a green dragonborn. Over here! More wine. The woman comes over. You can see that her hands are shackled, though very loosely. The chain between them is very loose. She has full use of her hands, but shackled. Torin, you would know this is just a... it's a sort of ceremonious thing. Any enslaved dragonborn must wear the shackles, even if they're not actually restricting them. She sort of kneels and bows her head. Yes, Lord. And she gets the wine and pours it out, and she spills a drop on the floor, and just a little tiny bit out the side of the bottle. He sort of gestures with a finger, and a slash of blood appears on her cheek. At this point, Rogar comes out, and you can see Rogar has a huge black eye. Ah, Torin!
Rogar!
And he turns to Master Kadek and... I have not taken my lunch yet, my lord. I would like to take my lunch now, if that is okay. I will be only half an hour. I'll return shortly. And he bows twice, and then he... Torin, perhaps we should... He sort of walks out.
Before we go and follow Rogar, I want to turn to Kalik and say, it does seem like you are enjoying your very temporary post here as quartermaster of the guild.
Really, your ability to read people is pathetic and competent. A little like your choice of life. I was in a far more important position, and I have been dragged down to this backwater. Manage it in Yorkrath's leave because he has decided to go and chase fairies. I am doing anything but enjoying it. You can leave now.
And with that, I'll turn around and sort of whisper to the group, quite the day we're having, isn't it, friends?
I don't like him. He was rude to you.
Oh, because he was so put in the campaign for you all to like him.
Well, dare I say he got the position he clearly deserves. Anyway.
Yes. To Rogar.
Okay, so as you come out, Rogar sort of looks at you. Oh, Torin, it's so good you're here. It's so good to see you. How are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Rogar. We've had quite the journey up until this point. And I'll sort of like point up at his eye.
This one I did. Don't worry about it. It's all in good faith. I got in a fight with Kalek's son. He found out that I was...
Something you say.
Yorkrath's at the border, but he gave me a very important task, friend. The Master Kalik is very, very powerful with North. But rumors say that he is involved in some darker art.
Dark arts, you say?
I think he's studying to be a lich. You can see, like, he's been wanting to say this since, like, the second he walked out the door. It's like, yes, necromancy. He's studying to be a lich. It's dirty. It's nasty. It's dark. He has bodies in his... And I'm so close. I'm so close. And Yorkrath tasked me with it, and I'm going to succeed. It's the first thing I've ever been managed that my father's given me a task of, and I
Calm down,
so
Rogar.
close.
Keep
So
your wits
close.
about you.
I'm not set out for this spying thing. Oh, I just want to punch him. I just want to hit him. He's a bastard, he is.
I
I'm
share
gonna
the
get him.
sentiment.
Yorkrath said I'm going to get him the right way, with the law. The law of the Dragonborns. No one escapes their fate.
Well, Bahamut be with you, my brother.
And you too. But anyway, how have you been? I hear you went up in the mountains. It must have been so exciting. Tell me about it.
Well, exciting, yes, but dangerous.
Oh,
Well,
any good fights?
actually, we took care of some large yetis.
Awesome.
Yes, it was quite the sight. You see, my friends here, they've become quite capable. Dare I say, as good a fighter as I.
Doubt that. But excellent, I'm sure they are. Interesting, definitely. I'm so sorry for how my master spoke to you. He looks at Sebastian. I think you're quite fascinating.
So necromancy, you say?
Dark arts.
You know, I'll like scoot close to Torin's leg and like rub myself up against it. I am Torin's best friend. What kind of magic is this?
I don't really understand magic, but he's got books on lichdom and on immortality and lots of other dark arts.
Do you have one of these books?
No! I'd be foolish. I'd be caught. Anyway, they're nasty things. Bones of skin and bone and leather, all in one, and knitted with hairs of real people. Grim. And he's got jars of eyeballs and blood and all sorts of nasty things.
It's disgusting, Rogar.
It is. I agree.
Anyhow, enough about Kalik for a moment.
Yeah, tell me about your journey.
Well, more importantly, we'd like to know about Yorkrath's findings. Have you heard from him since his time on the border?
Yeah, come with me and let's get some lunch, and he'll lead you towards the Drunken Dragon Inn. Remember, guys, this is incredibly expensive, so
I was going to say, is that the expensive
Jesus.
one, or is it the Silver Sword?
that's the one that costs a bomb,
Yeah.
and he'll step in and he my lunch, if you don't mind. And he turns to you all and let me get you a drink and a bottle of your the bourgeois and 6 glasses. And this large, elegant bottle of red wine comes out along with a sort of a nice, easy meal for him. It's you can see it's not the finery that this place normally serves. It's just a plate of meat and veg. And perhaps he has some kind of deal with going on here anyway. And as he sits at a table, he sort of lounges his leg up on the side of the table and yeah, so heard some strange magics going on at the border. People not acting the right way. You know, a madness descending, that sort of stuff. We had a report back from one of our men. Apparently the Dragonborn one is affected by it. Something about mental resilience or something. Theorized. Anyway, he went down there with Nakrul. Nakrul, is that his name?
Narkul.
Narkul, yes. He went down there with him and they were going to investigate, but they're looking for the source. All hush. Hush, but well, who are you going to tell anyway? It's not like you have the ear of the Duke or anything. Anyway, point being, he goes to investigate, find out whether there's something nefarious at work or whether Lord Horshaw is just bad orders. Visions.
Yes, I do believe that Lagon is mistrusting of this Horshaw.
Hang on. But he's the worst, no?
Don't believe everything you hear, Rogar. We met with the man. He seems to be a straight arrow.
Can't be. Have you not seen how his children behave? They do. He can't accept that and countenance it. I've seen them murder slaves for simple things, such as saying the wrong thing or walking into the room at the wrong time. I've seen them enjoy torture. And,
Well,
share sexual acts.
the nobility, Rogar, are a different folk. I do believe that this is why my parents took post in Sandringham, and
Yet
my
you say that
grandfather.
the Lord Lagon is a straight arrow. His children behaving like that, and he in the knowledge of it, and he does know, I tell you.
Oh, we are aware.
Anyway, since when we sort of looks you up and down. You, somebody who meets with a duke.
Yes, it's quite a strange tale, indeed. And sort of, I guess, hopefully the lot of us basically explain to him.
As you get to the end of this, oh God, I've said too much. When you visit Lord Horshaw, you mustn't make mention of anything Yorkrath is up to, or the distrust, or anything like that. You know, we could get in so much trouble. The Silver Sword are meant to be an independent organization. We don't operate on politics. I'm sorry,
Rogar.
I spoke as a friend, but I should have spoken with responsibility. Yorkrath's always telling me I let my tongue run
Easy,
free.
Rogar. You not only spoke as a friend, you spoke to friends, and we have our own mind of discretion. We'll take it under advisement.
Yes, your secret is safe with us.
Be that as it may, Yorkrath is right that my tongue runs too free. I'm gonna get myself bought back.
I don't think Yorkrath would allow that to happen, nor would I if I could help it.
Yorkrath has no power where Caleb stand unless.
Sorry, James, I didn't.
Yorkrath has no power where Kalek is concerned unless he has broken the laws. Kalek is powerful than you understand.
I guess that's a question of laws then. We've just been learning about some of the ways the law, much to some of our unpleasant response, sort of condones assassination. What does it think on the matter of necromancy?
Necromancy is somewhat legalized in various countries, though it is limited. But to the Dragonborn, it is anathema. Anathema, sorry. Oh, I've managed to screw that up. It's anathema. It goes against the ways of life. Necromancy is strictly prohibited by all the Dragonborn. And the Golden Skins would have Kalek executed. They knew he was investigating Lichdom, even if he has not practiced it. But irrevocable proof is required, and Kalek has the ear of the Master of the Mages Guild. Others. There are few his equal in the ways of magic. Many. He was to be the Guildmaster of the Silver Sword, except for a disagreement with King Goldenskin's brother. As a punishment for his disagreement, his acting out politically, he was given this post. Yorkrath was demoted.
I see.
I think Yorkrath has been punished too.
Was it Kalek who sent him down to the border?
No. In Goldenskin.
Varric himself.
Yes, Yorkrath had been getting involved in politics. So,
the old man does not.
King Goldenskin is punishing him as much as he is keeping him out of harm's way and encouraging him to investigate further. I'm not sure. The machinations of the king are beyond me.
From what I've learned from my parents, the Goldenskins are right and just.
Very much so. In terms of your original question, Hennick, right?
Yes, indeed.
Speak of assassination as legal, but assuming you speak of the Nightblades?
Yeah, we had some. I don't know if you maybe. Well, I guess if you were training out back, you wouldn't have noticed. But there's a bit of a dispute in the street, and happened to involve someone we spoke to before about a murder that I don't know. Well, that seems this one was outside the law.
Indeed, the Nightblades are noble. I've taken some training with them on request of mine.
Interesting. Are you familiar with the man they call Dusk?
I know a few his equal in combat, and though he has a dark passion for his art. Good man in his own way.
Interesting. We may have differing opinions on what a good man constitutes.
Perhaps you know little of the Nightblades and their rituals.
We are ignorant to the...
They only kill those who deserve it. So, it must be proved. But in a situation where a man is causing great harm to someone, or perhaps abuses his wife, taken something that is not his own, I don't mean thieving. Perhaps a lord treats his slaves in ways that are unjust. The Nightblades have their code when they take a job. They don't have targets. They have corpses.
I don't suppose you would know of a particular female Nightblade that this man.
There are no female Nightblades.
Well, then it sounds like she's not even.
Most specifically
part of
said
the
he does not work with her, but he did sleep with her. Murderous.
Right. So she's outside the organization entirely. I was thinking maybe we'd be looking for someone who was willing to go outside the code, but I guess she's outside.
The Nightblades are unable to reproduce. Can't do that to a woman.
I see.
They say that love can mar their judgment. Strange, though, for worshippers of Nissos.
I'm sorry, but you said you know of few who can match him in combat.
Indeed.
Who are they?
I would lay some bets on your craft. He may be capable. There is another member in the Dusk. No. Nobody would fight Dusk by choice. Not even Van Dillen. Dillen's the Guildmaster here of the night. The thing is with Dusk is you're never having a fair fight.
Yes, I took that from his trickery.
But a mage, perhaps. Dare I say it? That Kalik will handle Dusk.
Interesting. What are your thoughts on this, Capo?
This Kalik is interesting. And while I don't doubt that he would be able to, if his reputation is as great as it sounds, from what I saw of his magics, they're not something simple or easy either. They're quite something.
He walks the Shadow Planes as easily as he walks Imperial.
Is that what it is, walking the Shadow Planes? It's not just invisibility.
Torin, give me an insight check with advantage. Sorry, insight or history, you can choose.
Ooh,
whether this is something
okay.
you've read or whether this is something you can
Well,
work out
I'm
based on what you've read.
I'm equally bad at both, so.
Oh, great. Excellent. Give me one of each and see which one rolls higher then, I guess.
14?
Yeah, great. That's plenty. So, Walking the Shadows is a Dragonborn term. It's badly translated. It more means casting shadows with magic. So the Green Dragonborn long ago were illusionists. This is an art that is very frowned upon by the Dragonborn. They believe in truth more than almost anything else. So the idea of hiding the truth with illusion was the reason that the Green Dragonborns are enslaved as an entire race. When he says walking the shadows, he means illusion magic.
I see.
And with that, he will sort of, well, look, I'd love to chat more, but I'm not back on time.
No, I understand, Rogar. Please keep your investigation as secretive as you can. Stay safe as possible.
I will do. You too.
Thank you, friend. If we happen upon your craft, I will pass on the information that you have shared with us.
Thank you. And we will take a short break. welcome back to the second half of Beldania. So, as I can hear myself, by the way. Bruno, your mic's perma on.
Can you hear anything?
It's permanently on. It's not going off.
But can you hear anything when it's on?
No. Weirdly, I can't.
My sound is like off.
Okay, yeah,
Look.
cool. That's fine. No, I can't hear myself anymore. So that's great. But yes, it's just got a permanent green box around it for no reason whatsoever. Great, not a problem. Yeah, I can't hear myself anymore, which is good. I can't cope with that. So, as Rogar has left you in the place that you're in, the Drunken Dragon Inn, with some wine, and departed to get back to Kanik, hand over to you.
Didn't Kiava want to go study?
Quite possibly, but you're still in the inn. I didn't know if you wanted to talk.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on the study and the getting the materials and stuff until a more convenient time, because we've got a lot on our plate right now.
Yes, besides meeting with unsavory folk, I fear that perhaps we may have to pay a visit to another one sometime soon.
We've already had so many of these douches today. Do we really need to do another? I mean, yes, I know we do. I shouldn't complain.
Pack it all into one day, and then the other days, more pleasant.
Yes, reach for the drink the next day. Purge the memories of the previous one. That's one way to do it.
I have a quick question out of character, actually. Did Rogar leave us with the bill right now?
No, he paid.
Oh, okay.
Oh, thank goodness.
Or rather,
Yeah,
he
otherwise
didn't
we'd be
pay,
screwed.
which is quite specific.
I see.
He didn't pay, and he didn't leave you with a bill.
Okay.
He's definitely got an arrangement of some kind. Intriguing.
Well, he is Yorkrat's son. I believe Yorkrat's well known in Harbonden at this point. He's been there for quite a while.
Speaking of which, after a little while, a female silver dragonborn comes over to the table to ask you, can I help you? Get you anything else?
I don't think so. Is anyone else parched, hungry?
No thanks. I think I'm good.
You friends of Rogar?
Yes, he's quite a close family friend, I would say.
Really? I'm not sure if he's... What's your name?
Thorin Goldenbrand.
Oh, yeah.
And yours?
He's told me about him. About you. Delia.
Thalia, I hope only good things were spoken.
Quite. There's you're quite the hunter and the fun down in the mountains.
Aye, that is true.
Speaks very highly of your grandfather.
Aye, the old Cole was a respectable man. Something of a hero to myself.
Yeah, I think if Rogar had his way, he'd go and duel in the arenas as well.
Aye, I gathered that. Rogar does fancy himself a good fighter.
He hopes to be. I think he knows. I'm hearing myself again. I think he knows that he's not quite there yet, but learning.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all just learning? I hope myself to partake in the arena at some point. Although
Sad, I'd like to see. Anyway, in the meantime, any friend of Rogar is a friend of mine. During the day, if you want to swing by, sometimes we have some extra stock. I can spare it to you.
well, that's very kind of you, Salia.
Oh.
I'll sort of grab her hand.
He doesn't seem to have many friends in the city, but those he is friends with are worth looking after. I'm not going to ask for an insight check. Passive insight will tell you that this is not his sister, but his girlfriend. That's all you need to know, really, as to how he's managing to afford things. But it will also mean that if you swing by in the daytimes, you might be able to get yourself some fancy shit. Which Sebastian might appreciate. The red wine is specifically good, Sebastian.
Sorry,
Yeah.
what?
While we're all sitting around, I would probably say to hey, Sebastian Chiavo, this earring here seems a little bit special. I don't know if either of you might be able to figure out exactly what it might do. I think it does something.
I could try to take a look, but I cannot give you any guarantees. However, I'm due to go to the Mages Guild at some point and maybe take a look, see if there would be anything on earrings like this in some of the libraries in various places. So I could at least try and take a look.
Just to let you know, Sebastian, what I said is the red wine is specifically good, as you're in a very expensive place, but she's just offered you a way of getting it for free. And secondly, obviously this earring's been offered to either of you. Chiavo, you can sure go and read about it, but Sebastian, if you wish to inspect it...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something Sebastian...
After all of Chiavo's rambling, I'll turn to Hennig. Or you can just let me look at it.
Yeah, have a look. I could sort of sense a little something on it. Figure you might know.
Yeah, weirdly, what happens is, I'm not going to ask you to roll. Sebastian is thinking, like, pondering what it is. And, you know, Hennig, you begin to hear Sebastian's voice in your head going, it's, definitely magical, it's, seems to be some kind of abjuration magic, etc. And everything he's thinking is coming into your head.
Has your whole cat transformation thing also added in? You speak without moving now, Sebastian? What's going on here?
At that point, Sebastian, you may realize you're casting message with the earring.
With the earring?
Yeah.
Even though I'm not wearing it. Am I wearing it?
You don't have to be wearing it, you were just holding it.
I was just holding it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just when it's touching your skin, but obviously conveniently. It doesn't cast automatically, it's just you had cast it automatically in trying to work out what it is.
Right. Okay.
You can switch it off.
Okay, then I'll say to Hennig, what number am I thinking of? And then in my head, it'll be like 0.5 million to the second decibel half. Something ridiculous.
I like the way that you just measured a number in decibels.
Yeah, that's...
I'm not a mathematician.
No, you're definitely not.
Not even a grade school student.
Ouch.
But yeah. Okay, so I guess I hear that. And I would use the response to say, "Oh yeah, well, it's I can hear that. Hear that noise." But then I would stop and then say separately. So it's a little bit like this. Then I think I can already manage that with just manipulation of the voice. I didn't really take it to be magic, but I don't think I need that.
Yeah, so it's ever so slightly different, Hennig. The only difference between this and your own form, I believe your own form of message has it's 120 feet of range and gets blocked by a foot of stone, is it?
Usually, yeah, I think that.
Yeah, so although it says Earring a Message, Earring a Whisper is relatively similar, the one difference being the range is 300 feet. It isn't blocked by stone. But I had assumed that somebody would wear this who isn't you, who could contact you, and vice versa, so that you could get a two-way relay going, basically.
Which is what I was sort of trying to set up with the whole thing here.
Yeah, right, okay.
Well, I don't know if anybody... I can sort of do a bit of this myself. I don't know if anyone else wants to try out Keep with the Earring. Sebastian, you're also sometimes sneaking ahead, that sort of thing, but anybody who thinks they can make the best use of it for the group, sense to me.
Well, Hennig, I fear I do not have ears, and so it may be useless to me, but Natasha, perhaps this earring takes your fancy?
I'm not particularly keen on jewelry.
Oh, it's decided then, Chiavo. You have ears, don't you?
I do. I most certainly do. I can't believe you've done this. I cannot believe you've done this, James.
Actually, correct me if I'm wrong. Message isn't actually limited by a number of words, is it? That is sending.
Sending.
Right?
Yeah, it's sending.
Okay, good. Well, as long as we never give you sending, we'll be fine.
No, I'm taking sending.
Oh, okay, very good. Good
Well,
enough.
try it on, Cavo.
Write it
Let's
out
have a-
pre-session.
Sure, can I, like, clip this thing onto my ear somehow?
You can poke it straight through the ear.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'd rather hold it then.
Damn.
Very well. Yeah, you can hold it, and at that point you'll be able to cast message. As I said, 300 feet, and it's not limited by thickness of stone walls, etc.
Okay.
Could prove useful.
Wondering if I could, like, poke it into one of the like holes in my robes, or make
Sure.
a tiny hole, just
Yeah.
hang it off me.
Yeah, as long as it's touching your skin, it'll work.
Okay, I'll just put it on the inside then and have it ready.
You may have occasion to slip one of us some genius information at some point.
Well,
Or at least
I
if
don't
we
know
can
about
separate.
genius, but I can try.
I suppose if we do split up, it's best if you and I go separate ways. It's any knock against you, of course.
Yeah, that's a sensible and realistic way of looking at things, but something tells me we shouldn't be split up too much, or for too long.
Well, that's fair. Perhaps just whispering when we're in the presence of people we don't really want to be in the presence of, such as where we might need to be heading right about now.
Or with many of the people we've already spoken to today. That's a good point.
Aye then, so shall we meet this Lord Horshaw then?
May as well get it out the way.
Well, lead the way, Henrik.
To confirm, Lord Horshaw is the Lord of Harbonden, yes, as opposed to
Yes.
Severin, Lord Lagon's man, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, well, I mean,
True.
I'm just clarifying
Actually-
which one it is you are intending on going to. As
True.
long as you get to
Just
where you're
always
trying to
anyway.
go, I'm fine.
well, I basically was
both,
thinking
right?
that we had to. Part of what Lagon wants to know is stuff about Harshaw, so I thought we'd go to Harshaw first. But
and then rendezvous with.
It makes perfect sense. I just wanted to clarify that we knew which one was which. Cool.
the Duke of Harbonden.
Is the Duke of Harbonden the douchebag one?
He may be a douchebag. We haven't met him yet.
So you were told that he was self-indulgent, that he loved parties, he spent the coin of the city on himself, and he doted on his wife, who is far younger than him. That's what you've been told. Yeah, cool.
So kind of a douchebag, but that doesn't sound like the world's biggest
Yeah,
douchebag.
you don't think
just
you know
really
that
fuck.
yet. However, when you arrive at the gates to the keep, you will be stopped by a guard. He is wearing the full plate mail armor, even with the helmet over, you know. So you can barely see anything other than his eyes, and he looks at you and... Name and business, please.
Yes, my name is Henrik Little. We are all here from Sandringham, and we had been... so we've been to report to the Duke some of the scout records that we on the way through the mountains.
Yes, on charge of Lord Lagon. Of Lord Valen.
Business of Lord Lagon. Okay, and to whom am I addressing, and whom might I announce?
My name is Torin Goldenbrand. As my associate
Goldenbrand.
here.
I know the family.
You know
your
my-
grandfather was a very good fighter.
Yes, my grandfather.
That he'll nod to you, and well, very well, go on in. And he just simply calls out in a sort of very like a voice like a bugle is what I was trying to say. This goes, Lord Torin Goldenbrand. Nearly called you Golden Skin there. Goldenbrand, you've become royalty. Congratulations. And his comrades, on behalf of Lord Lagon. I don't know when you became a lord, but he decided you became a lord.
Yeah.
And you
Probably
enter this
embarrassed by this and just like, oh god.
huge, open, vast chamber, in which sits one man upon a throne, fairly ornate. Next to him is, on a very comfortable-looking chair, is a very petite woman. In her lap sits a little dog. It is white with little fluff to it. It's very unlike, I can hear myself. It's very unlike any dog that you guys have sort of seen before. It's not a hunting dog. It is much more a sort of lap dog. And she appears sort of almost embarrassed by her position here, and she sort of up at you. I think it's Eureka, by the way, that I can hear myself off of. And the Duke sort of, well, come forward. Please. What is it you need to say?
Greetings, Duke Horshaw. This must be your
Lord.
Lady Polydra. Lord Horshaw, this must be your Lady Polydra.
Indeed. And not find a woman when you find.
Aye, indeed.
He looks at her very fondly and sort of pats her on the hand. And she sort of lets out this little giggle. Hennick, give me an insight check as you look at this.
17.
You can immediately tell that she has not got noble bearing at all. Maybe she's a commoner? Remember the common folk. It's obvious to almost all of you, really. But Hennick will be the one I take the insight check off, yeah. And he... Yes, this is my fine wife. To what might I assist you with?
Well, it is a pleasure to be in the presence of folk with such regal bearing. I deliberately at the and not sarcastically. Like I'm trying. Like I assume she wants to feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Joe has to be sarcastic because I can't not. That's the way. But,
I have the same issue.
We were tasked by Lord Lagan and Lord Valen to pass through the mountains, picking up some records of scouting activities, and wanted us to bring a copy.
Dangerous work.
We have that with us. It was more dangerous than we quite expected. Things are quite tense at the border, but as I know they are at the closer border here. But anyway, we have that scouting records for you. A copy of those for you. I have.
Oh, I thank you very much. Most dangerous work. I do hope your travels are okay. You didn't encounter anything untoward. War is at hand, you know.
Indeed it is. On
most troublesome.
Several fronts, it seems.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much it will affect us, but we can hope. We'll be affected as little as possible. Anyway, I do thank you very much for your report. And he calls out and sorry, Master Renkrith! And this sort of gentleman comes out. He's got dark black hair, and bright blue eyes, and a fairly easy smile, and he looks to be in his mid-30s. And he gives a little bow to you all, and pleasure to make your acquaintance, sir. Don't mind me. And then he will take the letter. He looks over it and... Oh, well, your auntie spotted at the borders in the mountains. You speak of parley. The savages parleyed with you?
Well, in fact, they didn't seem all that savage when we spoke to them. It was a fairly productive conversation. They are working on sheltering with the dwarves.
Do you partake in any pleasurable narcotics?
Not as a habit, no.
Did they offer you anything? Or perhaps a drink?
I took in their change, but it was... I could feel that it was attempted to affect me and was able to resist it.
Anyway. He leans over to his lord and quite quietly. The Lord looks to you and, well, thank you very much for your most dangerous undertaking. I appreciate the good work you've done for our realm, but fear not, we can take it from here. Most kind thank you.
Might I understand that you don't take our report of kindness with these folk too seriously?
I take everything you say most seriously. It's a dangerous travel up in the mountains. But we are, of course, to understand that these Yuan-Ti have ways of manipulating people's minds. I mean, we only need to see what they've done at the borders. They made our men attack strange visions and nasty creatures, and they were having nightmares all through the night. Quite terrible. I'm sure that you went through quite the trauma, and whilst you may believe what you witnessed, I'm sure my man here assures me that the Yuan-Ti are incapable of gentle practice.
Well, he's incorrect, but if I can't convince you of that, perhaps I might at least point out a bit of a contradiction in what seems to be a perspective here. On the one hand, it is, well, these people are awful, and there's no way of speaking to them on kind terms. On the other hand, it is, perhaps we can simply avoid the war entirely that is coming at us from two nearby directions. Are they horrible and coming or not?
Master Renquith looks at you and... 741. Young man. 741 soldiers lost so far at the borders. Did these fall to pleasantries? Were they killed by dinner? Or lunch, perhaps? Perhaps fine wine or excellent conversation? Or were they perhaps murdered in their beds in the night by Yuan-Ti? Witnessed by those who were not affected by the visions. And, of course, I understand that... Sort of looks at you and looks down and at a prestigious warrior such as yourself must indeed have the correct views of an entire folk from their one meeting.
Well, you see, that's where I think you make the mistake. I am not claiming the view of an entire folk. I'm certainly not claiming prestige or warrior status. In fact, it is lack of warrior status that allowed me to speak to them. But you're quite right. I have to say, our first encounter with them was, in fact, quite peaceable, whether you believe it or not. But we ourselves have run into the fact that there are also some unpleasant things going on. And I think I would only suggest that you consider the possibility of both. That is all.
I'm sure it will be considered. And the Lord once again goes into his very practiced speech of, well, thank you so much for your most arduous work on behalf of the people. I appreciate you greatly. Please, well, and then he looks sort of at Master Renquith and Master Renquith, oh, of course. He reaches into his pocket and he pulls out a pouch and he hands it over. Your payment, of course, for your hard work.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Sebastian.
Do you know what caused the Yuan-Ti to act like that at the border?
I believe it's in their nature. That is the diplomat that says it. Troublesome, meddlesome folk. Always been savages. We've had to keep the border strong for many years, of course. And the Lord sort of nods, and there's been border troubles for many years. The diplomat continues the spiel. So Sebastian, by all means, speak over him.
Well, then why are you now having trouble with them?
No more trouble than we were before, except that they are, it would seem, trying to invade. Or rather, sorry, they're being no more savage than they were before, except they now seem to want to bring their savagery over here, is what he'll say. I'll retcon what I previously.
When you say they mean to bring their savagery over here, do you mean by when they sent a young scout that you killed? Is that the savagery you're speaking of?
We've had, the only scouts we've had have poisoned our wells and stabbed people within their beds.
Oh, then you mustn't have taken into account the younger ones that you've murdered.
Murdered? Our men fight bravely at the borders, despite the poisoning of their waters, the plagues that have been thrown at them, the sicknesses of the mind. 741, and that's how many we've lost so far. 741.
But Natasha's right. They sent a child to ask for help.
Did you witness this? Or is this account from your sitting down with the Yuan-Ti and exchanging pleasantries?
Did you witness the 741 men you lost? Or is this an account from the people that returned?
I have had each of their bodies returned to me, and I have been the one to inform their families.
So
did
because
they.
you haven't seen the dead body of the UNT child, you don't believe it. There are no good people in war.
That may be true. But our men have been troubled with things beyond the normal acts of war. Savagery. The diplomat sort of... I'll take my leave, sir. Lord once again turns to you, and thank you so much for your arduous work on behalf of our people. I am most appreciative. And you see his wife sort of shrinking back. And you see she does this strange thing. Passive perception, it's you, right? I've got a number, but I haven't got the person. Torin and...
Minus 16.
Passive?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
My passive is 13, I believe.
It's Natasha's passive. I've got written down.
That's 14.
Yeah.
You see whilst she's beginning, sort of looking nervous, she lets out a strange gesture with her left hand that looks slightly arcane in nature. You're not able to work out any more than that, but you do see that she does something that's very out of character for how she's acting.
May I maybe roll an Arcana check?
I'm going to say you didn't see enough of it is to make any sort of inclination. You just know she did something very weird while looking at you, and then she sort of pipes up, "Thanks for coming."
Yeah, welcome. We didn't do this for you.
And with that, he will sort of gesture for you to leave. As you are headed out of the main palace area, a serving woman trips in front of you over her broom, falls to the ground. Right next
Torin will-
to Torin, yeah.
Yeah, Torin will go and help her up.
"Oh, thank you so much, sir." And as she takes your hand to come up, she puts a note in your hand. She says very quietly, "The Lady Pelagia would like to speak to you." And then she goes, "So sorry, I'm so sorry," and she continues to sweep across the hall.
Do be careful, dear.
As you get out, Torin, you're able to look at the note if you would.
Yeah, I'd maybe try to find a nice quiet spot, maybe tucked away in an alley. Not in an alley, but away from
Yep.
the prying eyes, and pass the note along to maybe Hennick.
Yep. It quite simply says the Silver Knight Inn, 30 minutes. That's what it says.
Well, seems to me we have our next destination. Probably not long enough to stop off and do much else. Guess we could probably perhaps run over to the Rangers Guild, but I would like to take this meeting, if at all possible. We all weren't quite as diplomatic in there as we might have been, so we might need to do this situation through whatever means we can, and meeting could be.
Joe, your sensitivity's really struggling.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. I've been-
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Your mic's
I'll
not
get
quite
off
managing.
and back on. Okay.
But yeah, so at this moment, if you wish to go to the Rangers Guild, you do have time to do so before getting to the Silver Knight Tavern. It's only a 10-minute walk, so as long as you're not going to hang about there for an hour, you're more than welcome to do so if you wish. But you
I
don't
would
have to.
I would like to quickly go to the Mages Guild while we're here.
That
I
will
can.
take a lot longer. You can always go back. It's only sort of 12:30 in the afternoon. You can always go back to the Mages Guild afterwards. But I'm just saying, if you want to garner anything from the Rangers Guild before going to this meeting, you would have time to pop in just by virtue of where you are.
I think it's worth checking out. Meet Severin.
So there was
Is that his
one
name?
other.
Devon, yeah. Sorry, go on, Calvin.
There was one other thing that was mentioned in that meeting as well that I did catch throughout the should I say hostilities in discussion. Something about the soldiers themselves having visions as well. That's
it's-
something that's now been confirmed that we've heard, yes?
It's interesting. These visions seem to affect some and not others. Or perhaps they affect all, and Some are not privy to its magics.
Well, some people seem to be affected, and as you say, some people may not be. Hypothetically speaking, would it be so that some of the UNT may be affected and others aren't? Such as, for example, the person we spoke to. It's just a thought, just a theory, but there really could be something driving people mad, right? Making people see things, act in ways they shouldn't.
It might not be so different to what drove them out of their lands.
There is... I feel... I have a theory of it, that there's something that's definitely messing with people's minds, and I'm worried that what comes from the border is not going to be anything good.
Perhaps something worth investigating
Everyone.
over time.
Well, I think the problem is that when we get into matters of people's minds being tricked, well, perhaps the most difficult thing to convince someone of, their own mind is telling them one thing.
It's hard to convince people that they've been deceived. It's easy to continue believing what they've seen and heard. We've seen it here as well. This
Natasha is...
person didn't believe that we'd had a respectful conversation with Ayuante. Is there any hope for the border at all?
Well, I mean, can you really... I understand the sort of practical decision of I mean, I wish that
As
people
do
would
I.
believe us that this conversation happened, certainly, and that they would consider the possibility that there are more than one type of person on the UNT side as there are on ours. But even if there are, unless it is someone like Yalasar coming up to us and behaving as he did, then we would have I can understand they must have to defend themselves. I mean, whatever is driving them, whether it's driven by some sort of magic or whether they're just horrible people, if they're coming at you, you got to do something about it. So I think it's going to have to be a root cause situation more than a convincing, as much as I'd like it to be the latter.
I feel you may be right as well.
But we can see what the lady has to say, or whoever she sends. I have trouble believing we'll see her there ourselves, but or herself.
Well, perhaps we should visit the Rangers Guild before meeting with the lady or her representative.
As long as we aren't held up, I think that's just fine.
Okay. So as you head over to the Rangers Guild, a man at the desk sort of looks up at you and, good day. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm looking to relieve myself of the last copy of some important scouting records from through.
You'd be looking for Master Severin. One moment, please. And he lets out a strange whistle. And Master Severin comes out with a man you recognize, which is Kevran, the ranger from back yonder day. And Kevran sort of looks at you and, it's so good to see you well. Fendus gave knowledge that you would be coming. Please, this is Severin. He's a good folk. No, not much cop with a bow. Gives you a wink and, it's to him that you'll need to give Master Lagon's scouting orders. Was your journey okay?
Well, I suppose so. We're here. That's what matters the most.
Did you
Arduous, but nothing.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say arduous, but nothing we weren't able to manage. Hey? And I'll sort of like nudge Natasha.
Did you come across the Yuan-Ti frontier?
Didn't we just?
Have many of them made it to Barat Numenez?
It seemed like quite a few were going to be able to shelter there, yes. I think there was still some question about numbers, but we actually had something of a conversation with them, although few believe us in that.
Yes, no one will, don't worry about it. Lord Lagon is what matters. There is a strange magic going on at the border. I don't understand it, but the dwarves seem impervious to it. That's what's relevant. And you, I'm guessing perhaps because you were in the mountains, didn't seem to be affected by it either, which is great. But the border, they slaughter each other like beasts. Nobody seems to have any knowledge of the other trials and tribulations. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details. Suffice to say, I'm very glad that you made it through in one piece and that you were able to secure the full report. I'm sure Master Severin will get this to Lord Lagon as quickly as he can. He has magical connections to pass on messages without being intercepted. And Severin is also facilitating the exodus of certain people from the border. In fact, and he looks at Torin, he helped Master Yorkrath, the Silver Sword, get down to the border safely.
I'm extremely grateful, Severin.
My pleasure.
Yes.
So, I'm sure you want to get home. Hearth and good meal, eh? Perhaps I might join you at your table, Hennick, when it is reassembled.
You would be mighty welcome. Sounds like perhaps just at Natasha's family's inn would be the only place about now we could
The rebuilding's
that
going
sort of
well. Homes are on the way. Don't you worry. In fact, I'm headed back there to see Ogren soon. I look forward to seeing you when I get back to town. Unless, well, I don't think you'll be hanging around Harbonden for 3 days, so I'll see you when I get there.
Well, we shall see. Yeah, we have more going on here than you would have thought, but I am certainly eager to get home.
Perhaps. Don't lose yourself to the city. Easy to think that... Well, easy to think everything's urgent. Don't forget. Sometimes peace and selfishness be a necessity.
Just hoping to help where we can, but certainly not too attracted by the excitement of the city.
How did you find adventure on the road?
Well, I would have liked to be able to bring my donkey along. I had to come back the other way, but some interesting things to see for sure.
That
I mean, well, I respect the land, and the land does sometimes have more to show you than just a simple flat field. Quite a few strange sights up in the mountains, but, well, we'll see how long that lasts.
My little fellow, I think you might have been through a lot. Short time adventuring. And you! He looks over to Natasha. See you all in armor and... You look well equipped.
I wouldn't really call this armor.
It's a hell of a lot more than you went out with, isn't it, Natasha?
I've seen bigger.
Big changes. And look at you, you're speaking up now too. Good. He sort of looks over at Torin.
She nods.
Looks over at Torin and then looks down to your grandfather's sword and back up at Torin. Seems all of you have gone through some changes. And then he sort of rolls his eyes over to Sebastian and except perhaps yourself. You seem as unfazed as ever.
Some people don't need to change.
Indeed.
You've done plenty enough of that over the over time, huh?
Travel well. Adventurous. Smiles. One thing I will say, although Severin has been quite kind and listened, it's quite obvious that it's very different here in that he has imparted no information at all. He doesn't regard any information he has as something you deserve or need. He's just, you've done your job, thank you very much. Kevin, obviously being a friend, has imparted some knowledge, but I just wanted to make it very clear that Severin stayed very quiet. Besides, you may head on now if you wish.
Well, thank you. It was always good to see you, Kevin. And you as well, Severin.
You too. With that, you may head to the Silver Knight Tavern. We're going to sort of jump there, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I don't think a walk through the city is particularly necessary. And as you enter in...
Before we enter,
Yeah, go on, Natasha.
I noticed something whilst we were in court. The lady of the house, she was casting a spell.
That's spell you say that mousy young girl.
I'm not sure, but it seems that we must be weary, or else we will be bamboozled yet again.
I've had quite enough of being bamboozled already.
As have I, Chiavo.
As long as I don't have a crossbow pulled onto me and shot through the shoulder again, I...
Hennick,
Yes.
keep our shovel close.
As you
We
enter
wanna
into...
Stop over at the stables, but
As you enter into inn, shovel at hand, you're greeted by a serving girl. She's got a sort of large rag that's sort of pulled over her head. She's wearing a sort of maid's long apron, and she sort of nods to you. And, oh, good day, good day. Hi there. I think you're expected. You'd be Torin, right? Goldenbrand, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
You're expected. I've got a room for you upstairs. You want to come with me?
That's lovely. My companions here are
All of
with
you,
me as
all of
well.
you, come along. Come along.
Yes.
And as she ushers you up the stairs, she opens the door and gestures for you to go in. Your room upstairs.
I'll bust in the room like I own the place.
Yep, there's no one in there. You enter into an empty room. And as you all...
Is there at least like any glasses or anything?
No, it's just a bed, a table, and a chest. It's an inn's room that's completely unused right now. And as you all get into the room, the servant's girl follows you in. She shuts the door and locks it, and then she pulls the rag off her head and drags off the maid's outfit and wipes her face with a rag, and the Lady Poledra stands before you. Sorry about that. Well, sometimes the easiest thing is a more physical disguise. I'm so sorry for the way you were treated in court. The Lord Renquith is an arsehole and an imbecile, and he has complete control of my husband, who I'm afraid to say is a dullard, although very interesting and great fun. Not particularly useful. You can call me Poledra. I work with Velvet Glove. It's a marriage of convenience and of... well, it puts me somewhere useful, that's for sure. We're well aware.
So the Velvet Glove has infiltrated the Lord's court. This is...
No, we take no place in politics. I am merely there to listen and to hear. But nevertheless... Well, in times like these, we do need to take stuff in hand, if you get what I mean. So, without further ado, I understand you had a meeting with you, Auntie. Who did you speak to and how did it go?
was a speaker of their group by the name of
Excellent.
Yalasar.
Yalasar, third speaker. Fantastic. She takes out some ruffled notes, and I do believe that one of the rangers had the chance to speak to one of the second speakers. As yet, nobody's managed to get in contact with the king, but, well, we're doing what we can. Are they on their way to Barad Numerez?
Indeed. They were waiting to see just how many of their folk could fit there.
Excellent. And, I don't suppose, did you partake in any of the Yuan-Ti rituals? And no, I'm not asking because I think you were influenced by narcotics.
Yes, indeed. And,
Good. It's a sign of trust in the Yuan-Ti cult.
yeah, it seemed to work out for us. Opened things up a bit. You know, I'm starting to think this Velvet Glove folk take their secrets to a little bit of a fetish kind of level. They told us to speak to you and did not tell us that you were a part of their group. It seems a little extreme, but... You know.
I would imagine you speak of Carrion, perhaps, in the guild house here. Unfortunately, he's not privy to all the secrets of the guild. Well, suffice to say that my position is not known to many. Of course, conveniently, as you leave here, you will forget it magically. No, I'm joking. You will, of course, keep the secret. Otherwise, well, at that point, you may find yourself in a tiny bit of trouble. Nevertheless, we do understand that there's something going on at the border that is quite troublesome. We are trying to extract as many people as possible from under the nose of idiot Lord Rencrath. Master Rencrath is, I think, in league with somebody else.
Oh.
Interesting.
He seems to be facilitating the increase of trouble at the border. We are looking into it. But alas, that is nothing that you need to worry yourselves about. I do believe you've earned yourself some rest and some reward, far more than my husband gave you. If you had looked in the pouch her husband gave you, it had 5 coppers in it. She, however, will give you 5 gold pieces. And nod to you, and on behalf of the Urak state, we appreciate your diplomacy and your work. And Henrik, I have heard some good things about you. And the kind way you speak.
Well, I'll do what I can.
Very good. It should interest you to know that the rebuilding of Sandringham goes well, though it would speed up if some more money was freed from the coffers. Unfortunately, my husband's financial means are not available to me.
And
A consequence of Lord Rencross.
No, the consequence of me needing to keep up the impression that I'm a pretty young girl with not much in her head.
Understood.
and who are you giving this money to?
What do you mean? Sorry, I don't understand that.
You're saying you funded some of Sandrigham's reconstruction, is it
No,
correct?
she's saying that it would go a lot faster if somebody bloody well did fund it. She is saying that she can't get her husband to.
Who's currently being paid to do it?
Some of the dwarves have been commissioned. A couple of the builders groups, guilds. The Guild of Merchants is really organising it amongst the various guilds, the woodworkers, etc. I believe that Master Kevrin is the person who is being put in charge of at least organising some of it on behalf of Mayor Garland. He's a sensible soul, if a little gentle. Doesn't drive the hardest of bargains, but he's honest. There is at least that going for him.
Very well.
Well, I'm sorry to have been so deceptive, but, well, frankly, you weren't going to get anything useful out of me. I wanted to make sure that you were aware that your efforts were appreciated.
Well, we do feel appreciated, Lady Polydra.
Polydra will do.
We do
no
now.
lady.
As you wish.
Should you perchance be travelling to any other cities, and you wish to, you wish to speak to anybody at the Velvet Glove, simple password will do. Diplomacy is key. That simple passphrase will get you listened to, if nothing else. I'm afraid I must
Seems
get back
that-
to the... Sorry, go on.
No, it just seems that's exactly what we could use the most lately, being listened to. So
Well, indeed, and we all really? If half of the politicians of this world use their ears before their mouth, the world would be a much better place. But then again, most of them are male. Regardless, if you would, excuse me, I must get back to the palace, and that she sort of begins pulling her hair out of her head, and then she sort of runs her hand over her bald pate, and hair begins growing, the same hair that you saw the original Lady Polydra have, but pulled to the side in quite a harsh ponytail. She then sort of runs her hand over the side of her face and a scar appears. And within a couple of minutes, you're looking at what looks like a beggar or a whore.
That's
Yeah,
incredible.
Why not both?
yeah, indeed. Sorry for the look. Part of the business. Anyway, I better get my voice on again. Oh, yeah. Well, right. I'll be seeing you later. And with that, she doffs her cap and good luck. She heads out. On that note, leaving you a little bamboozled in the Silver Night Inn.
God damn, the talent of some of the people here
We
is
shall end our
unbelievable.
Shall end our episode there. And come to MVPs. I think I might go first. Feeling fancy. So I've got a few that came from the very beginning of the session. Oh, before I do, by the way, for your interaction with the many, many interesting people of Harbonden, 1 point in charisma and 1 point in investigation each. Some of you will be more happy about that than others. I think 2 of you have just hit your breakpoints and you focus on charisma as your class, and 3 of you are sitting there going, what the fuck am I going to do with that? So, good.
I'm fine
Nice
with
and
it.
balanced.
Fine with it.
So yeah, I love the way that Chiavo got the insight check on the fact that Sebastian was shocking himself as he was trying to cast magic on the sword, and just went, I'll keep on watching. That was a good line. Hennick mentioning, I can roll to see if anyone notices if I'm gone. I'm absolutely confused as to what you would have rolled.
Well, like stealth to have snuck out.
Oh, right. I wondered if you were going to roll, like, their perception scores. I was
No,
so I didn't realize you'd sneaked. I just thought, you've gone out.
Well, I just mean,
I'll roll
like-
to see if they noticed.
I know. I always have a question when I'm gonna sort of insert something has happened. You know what I mean? That didn't happen on
I getcha.
screen or in game, really.
I just thought it was hilarious. I was like, what on earth are you going to roll? An am I invisible check? Which I suppose a stealth check kind of is.
Yeah,
but-
that is a stealth check in a
but
way,
still,
isn't
it's
it?
usually intentional, right? I sort of see it as that sort of creepy sneaky. And I didn't see Hennick doing that to go out and get groceries. Just Sebastian's description of his body language in the beginning when he sort of talks about swiveling round and like looking up and rubbing himself against Torrent. Excuse me, I've got horrible hiccups. Rubbing himself against Torrent. I thought these were some brilliant moments and really enjoyed that descriptiveness. And finally, Jamal's dark words at the end when he just turned around and went, "Is there any hope for the border?" I was like, well, that sets the scene for me. Thanks, love. So, with my MVPs in mind, I will turn to Rico.
I had a few MVPs. Certainly towards the beginning of the session, Sebastian taking Torin's sword and just experimenting with it was hilarious. The way that he sort of just dragged it across the floor. I imagine this 3-foot tall cat dragging a 6-foot long sword, basically, that weighs double he does. And then obviously getting shocked and fluffed up is quite hilarious to envision. And then secondly, I thought that Bruno as Natasha had some hilarious one-liners towards the end. Specifically,
Bamboozling.
I've seen bigger.
Yes. Yes.
That was good on the armor. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's.
I will say, I think there was a tiny bit of Bruno bleeding through into Natasha there.
Oh,
It's one thing to be
absolutely, but it
fun
was
and
worth
funny,
it.
but it was worth it. Speaking of which, Bruno, your MVPs.
That wasn't Bruno bleeding into Natasha. I said it and I'll say it again. She will say things she finds hilarious in the most monotone tone of voice and be like, why is everyone laughing? This isn't meant to be a joke. And, that was literally her saying she has seen bigger armor.
Yeah.
But it's good because if it comes across as a joke, it means funny. My MVP was actually Jodai towards the end when he got really riled up in that argument with the Count/Duke/Moneyman.
Yes.
I was kind of sitting back and I really enjoyed that because Natasha's very much eat the rich, and so is Bruno.
No, I agree. I enjoyed that moment. Jamal.
I'm going to have to go with first bit I'm going to say is actually about douchebags he threw at us in one episode, man.
I didn't expect you to go and visit them all today. I didn't realize we were going to go and visit Kalik and see Dusk because they were sort of linked because they were right outside, right? And go to the Dukes, where you've noticed, I hope, that the Duke is actually not an arsehole. He's just a bit
I thought he was at least a
weak-minded.
little bit of an arsehole.
That's what I
but
figured.
a
He's just
naive
kind of
arsehole.
an idiot, basically.
No,
Yeah.
he's just a bit stupid. It's his diplomat who's an arsehole.
I mean,
but yeah.
I'd still say he's an arsehole in the sense that he's still just, splashing his money on frivolous shit rather than actually helping people, which is kind of an arsehole thing, but I guess that's just creepy
Maybe.
nobles for you.
Well, sort of.
So you
You'll
see
get to
what
see
I'm
more of
saying
that
is an
later.
arsehole, right?
Minor
From
asshole
the
compared to
perspective.
yeah.
I mean, compared to his advisor,
smacking.
clearly he's an arch arsehole.
Oh.
I was right and I was wrong in the sense that he's an arsehole, but I was wrong on that he's not the biggest arsehole in that
definitely.
entire establishment.
Mhm.
But yeah, I will still say I'm right in that he is an arsehole, but not in the way you were
We'll
thinking
see.
I was.
We'll see.
So yeah, that's going to be it for me. That was the last bit, which we
Large
just
numbers of
conveniently
arseholes.
wrapped onto. That I was right about about that noble.
Possibly. Josh.
So a little one was just the way Natasha spoke today. Just this soft, really specific way of talking. I was like, is Natasha turning to a murder hobo and we're just not aware?
Oh no.
And then my actual MVP is Hennig telling the authorities, like, this is what happened, and then being like, are you high? Like, are you just fucked out of your mind right now? So yeah, that man.
Good. Joe?
I definitely really liked Sebastian dragging the sword around too. I couldn't help with that. But since that's already been mentioned, I'll also give to Sebastian for being like, some people don't need to change. The person who is literally the most transformed of any character ever. It's just like, yeah, hey, some people don't need to change. I guess like you were meant to be the cat, and that's right. But also just the sort of, and I don't mean this as a complaint in any way. I do genuinely enjoy it. Like the sort of absurd amount of intrigue and levels of revealing people. Like, no, I'm another person in a mask, and another, and it's like everybody is there, and it's like, oh, random encounter in the street. This guy also can just disappear, and it's like,
oh my god,
it's a crazy
100%.
little
I've got.
extreme cartoon spy game.
Yes,
I'm glad.
oh my
Okay, I'm
word.
glad that image is being painted properly, and that like I wanted to cram it all into one, so you get the idea that none of it is actually that special. As in, like all of these idiots are playing these games. So I wanted to make sure that I was aware, and like, yeah, that came across. I'm really glad that came across. That it's full of this intrigue. Go ahead, Rico.
I wanted to add to my MVPs definitely to Natasha and Torin for showing restraint, because I'm pretty sure we both wanted to lay hands on fucking Dust.
Yeah,
Dust,
oh
yeah.
my word,
Yeah.
actually, that's another
I
one
was
that I've got
so
to add
ready.
to mine as well. Because I've got to say as well, the not just the talent of the lady that we saw at the end there with disguises and everything. There's some serious magic going on there as well. I think illusion magic, right? Just disguise. Wait, how the fuck did you do the hair
Apart
thing?
from
Then?
the hair,
That's magic
apart
as
from
well.
the
Yeah.
hair, there's no magic. I will say there's no magic you can learn.
Yeah.
That's
Not
what I've
even
got
with
for
the
you.
thing that Duska's doing.
Oh,
That's,
you can learn everything that everybody else has done with her.
But
There's
not
no
her.
magic
No,
you can learn.
there's
No.
no. That's something
Perhaps a little
really freaky
simpler.
and weird. Yeah.
Your
But-
skill.
The amount of skill and just like ability to do so much cool shit that people have, it's like, well, we are certainly out talented right now, I feel.
Or you're overselling them. Dusk, yeah, sure. The rest of them, I think you might be overselling.
No, the disguises, like being
we'll
able to
see.
do that sort of thing,
we'll
that's
see.
pretty awesome.
maybe
We'll
maybe it might be a racial thing for Polydra. I don't know.
Might just be. Just a thought.
No, that's probably the case. But I mean, being able to
She can change her
disguise like
voice,
that is
sure.
a talent in
Yeah.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, true. But it's practice.
Also, just really quickly, another little one is Kiavo being like, oh, all this cool, interesting magic. I should really go read upon it. And it's like, don't you have an Asian elf trapped in a book that you could probably ask about this? I would just forget it.
Well,
He's got the
only if
ultimate
there-
textbook in his pocket if it'll cooperate.
Yes, that's exactly the problem. If it will cooperate, and I don't suspect it will over
I
frivolous
just wish
stuff.
you asked it for everything because I love role playing that book. It
I
is
was-
the biggest asshole of them all.
I was gonna say,
I'll
I
do
don't know
it
that we
more.
can handle one more asshole. So I'm happy that
Well,
Kevin
it's only an asshole to Kiavo, to be fair. Yeah, which is always amusing. Anyway, on that note, I think we will end. Yes, we shall end. Are we going somewhere?
And
Are we going
okay.
somewhere? Are we going somewhere?
I don't know, are we?
No, we raid Mendari every week. I think we're just going to end there. So yeah, if you guys would like to say goodbye,
Goodbye.
Catch you
Bye.
next time.
everybody.
we shall see you soon.